for Rafi so we can have a discussion at the end, okay? All right, Rafi.
Thank you, Melissa. First off, I want to say, Melissa, thank you for inviting me. I am grateful that you're giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you guys. I was kind of very surprised with everyone saw the website, I'm assuming. The responses were you guys are very mature for what you do, which I did not expect, which was really cool. It was cool to see that you guys were polite, you came in with all the positives, and then you gave great criticism on the website. That was really awesome. So for that, thank you. So which means now you know the brand. So how do you build what I do is really the question here. For example, this pen. You guys build a beautiful product. At the end of the day, you know that this beautiful pen can be viewed by many people, and then if they see it enough, you can sell it to them. The question is, what's the journey between these two dots? Ultimately, what is that skeletal structure? Omnichannel marketing has many ways you can do this, but I'm going to narrow it down to a very small segment of it, which is the foundation of most human behavior. It's all about the human behavior. I can't imagine you guys haven't dated, so I'm assuming that you know what it's like to come out on your private time, unrelated to this conversation, but I believe that we all have gone out and seen a person, approached a person, talked to a person, got to know them a little more, got more intimate with them, and then began a relationship with them. That journey, that mental journey, is exactly what happens with a product. It is no different than the way you guys date, or you guys feel about how to get from the unknown to getting to get acquainted to a person, to getting more comfortable with a person, and then to getting into a relationship. A product is nothing more than a relationship with a brand. That's all pretty much, that's what it is. So you've got to mentally understand that structure. So in the world of social media marketing, I'm sure you guys have been on a website one day and you look at a product, 20 minutes later, you see a sponsored ad for that product. How does that happen? Anybody have any idea? I'm going to get into it, but somehow or another, you looked at something, somewhere else they showed you an ad. Or you go to a website that you like, that you've shopped before, you put something in your cart, you really didn't check out, and then 2 days later, you get an email saying, did you forget something in your cart? Now, I'm trying to connect the dots in your head that intro and moving forward to checkout, right? It's always about that journey. It's always about that journey. Or, which is the wildest thing, you're scrolling on your TikTok or Instagram, and then all of a sudden a product appears. How does that brand know that you might like that product? How did that happen? How is it that that brand was able to put that product in front of you?
Cookies?
Cookies?
Yeah.
It's part of it. We're going to get to it. It's part of it. Cookies is a mechanism in which we're going to get into how it does that. The reason I bring these stages up is so that you visualize a massive amount of people that's available for your product, for anything. That's marketing, right? Because I'm not today going to get into influencer marketing. I'm not going to get into radio marketing. I'm not going to get into TV marketing. None of that. Because the process is all the same. That journey is all the same. So let's go back to here. There's something called a funnel. We all live in a world of funnel. That relationship that you had with that person started, you got into a classroom with many people. You saw that person. You said, you know what, I kind of like that person. You approached that person. You got to know them a little bit. At the end of the day, from this big group, down to what I call checkout is a funnel. So mentally always remember that there is the intro and then there is checkout. Every relationship goes through this, and this is what's called top of funnel. That's why they call it TOF. This is middle of funnel, and this is the bottom of funnel. There is no transaction that happens with this pen at any speed that doesn't go through this. You might see this pen for the first time on your social media, look at it, evaluate it, like it, and buy it, but you still have to go through this journey. Every single human being goes through this journey. That's the structure I wanted you to kind of understand. Everybody goes through this journey. In the top of funnel, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to see something. Some of these people are going to get to here and like, no, I don't like it, and then it gets to this narrow section and they check out. So how do you get all these people to see you? How do you get all those people? So, you're going to build a end of season, right? That's your holy grail right here. That's your website. Let's assume that this block is your website. So you guys are very lucky, by the way, that Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, Snapchat, these things are worth millions of dollars that you don't have to pay a penny for. So there are two sides to this, which is one called organic, and this is what's called paid section. Here, this is how we do it, by the way. This is exactly how we run our entire business. This is how we run our new customers to move them along and so on. That's how we do it. I don't believe there's another way because human behavior is very predictable. Human behavior is super predictable. So you have, let's say, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. What else we have here? Google AdWords, Google Search, Thread, LinkedIn. You guys see how many opportunities you guys have to actually have an effect? And this is organic. That means you're creating a creative to post here. Why would you bother doing that? So that that person who's viewing it on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok even, you're driving them to your website. You're driving every single person to that website from all these channels. From all of these channels, you're driving them here. Do you remember when I said, how the hell do they know? How the heck do these people know like where you are in this journey? There's a thing called pixel. This is the gateway. One of the most important things you can do on your website is have a pixel. You don't have a pixel, don't bother. The pixel is that important. The pixel, the definition of a pixel is, think of it this way. It is the gateway into your website. It's a massive folder. And every single person who enters that, before they enter your website, we capture your information. So now we've got your identity there. Inside the pixel, we know where you are in your journey in our relationship. Are you a new customer? Are you just looking? Are you browsing? Are you about to check out? Are you a repeat customer? That pixel is gold. Without this, you can't do what's called paid advertising. Why is paid advertising important? You take the same guys here, Facebook, Instagram, and you go down the list, right? So when you're posting here, by the way, I want to be clear about this, you're not posting one time a day. You're posting 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day you're posting. Organic, you have no clue what is going to click. Your whole objective is you got to learn how to be. The word creative means you're creative. It's a creative product, like a content. Let's go back to relationships. I love the analogy of relationships because it's the only thing I understand. When you're ready to go out and meet someone, you got to go take a shower, do your hair, put the makeup on, get ready. That means you have to present yourself properly. Then you have to know, where am I going? Am I going to church? Am I going to a club? Where am I going? You got to dress accordingly. So on Facebook, when you're trying to do a creative means a video that talks about your product. And think about it, right? When in a relationship, for example, when you meet a person, there is a first time meeting, and then there is a moment when it's getting more, you're getting to know them. So your content has to be all those things in the creatives. And the whole point of this is to get them to your website, to capture this, so that we can talk about this in a minute. Have you guys ever noticed when you go on a website, it says, oh, here's a 15%, 10% discount. Why don't you put your email in there? What are we going to do with the email, you think? We're going to continue creating here what's called email marketing. Email marketing, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-step email marketing. Because ultimately, everybody wants to get out for a checkout. You can't be in business if you don't check out. Your ultimate goal is find people, move them across, and get them to check out. There is no reason why you're building a website otherwise. Zero. It's not for fun. So even email marketing follows the same relationship. You put your email in there, the marketing begins. Sometimes you also see these days, you have SMS. Oh, here, 10% more. Can you give us your SMS? Why? We want to bring you into our ecosystem. Our ecosystem is our brand. We want to tell you, how is this thing made? New launches. Maybe something's being discontinued. What are the benefits? Why is this good for you? We want to tell a story. I can't know you if I can't talk to you. I can't know you. You can't know me if you're not listening to me. So how am I going to do that? I am going to figure out a way to be organic. And by the way, on the organic section, you better be entertaining, you better be educational, and you better be informative. Those three things, if you're not doing, your creative is not working. Your creative is super important that it does work on those three platforms. And three most important things. Entertaining, by the way, means the music is it's trending, or the visual staccato is like, or let's say like there's like a cut and paste on CapCut is beginning to work according to what's trending today. It's very important to understand what is trending so that you can fit into the algorithm of be it TikTok and Instagram or YouTube or wherever else you are. And we still haven't talked about retargeting yet. Also, along the way, you really have to understand the mindset of the person who is watching Facebook compared to Instagram, compared to YouTube, compared to Google, every single person's mindset is different. I'm watching TikTok, bore me to death, I want to just be entertained, I need brainless stuff. Instagram, I want to know what's going on with my competitor, with this one, with that one. Facebook, family, friends, that's what I want to know. YouTube, I want to be educated. I want to go on YouTube and I want to be educated. Educate the person. Your product can do that on all platforms. Still organically, by the way. Pinterest, create the boards. Create the boards so that if you're doing a dress, how is it worn? All the different ways. Educate the person. It's your job to do that. It is your job to do that organically. Right? Now, this never stops. Ever, 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 ever. This never stops. It's exhausting. It's fucking exhausting. It never, ever stops. So you have to do insane amount of creative. You have to learn how to do videos, still images, music, everything. Overlay of text so that the person is educated. So this never, ever stops. Why? Because you never know what's going to go viral on you. And it's never about just selling, by the way. Sometimes I will go in and I will talk about things completely unrelated and controversial on my Instagram and on TikTok. Now I have 4 million views. How many of those might convert into a interested party? I don't know. But I do know I just got 4 million views. Now you can't get that for free. Like unless to pay for it, you'll spend probably $30,000 to pay for that 4 million views, if not more, correct? Yeah. So back to this pixel. Here comes the interesting part. Remember, all you're doing here is majority of the time, your focus is, I want more customers to see me. I want more education. But you're shooting in the dark here. When you're doing everything organic, it's a shot in the dark. You have no idea what the customer is doing. Now you start the retargeting. So you go into Facebook, and it's Instagram, blah, 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 blah. You start placing ads. And I'm going to explain to you how you place the ads. Again, the purpose is what? Drive them all back in here again. Everything you're trying to do is you're trying to get them to that website of yours, right? Back to the relationship. If you're dating, and then now you want to get intimate, you're inviting the girl or the guy to your house somehow or another, but you need to know where they are in the journey. So paid advertising, you need to know where they are in the journey. And this pixel lets you know that. Where are they in the journey? Are they new to you? Are they getting warmer to you? Or are they getting almost ready to check out? So your marketing inside of each one, your marketing, you have to create 3 separate types of creatives. A creative means a video. One video could be for introduction. Again, hello. How does Facebook know who to introduce it to? Because the same way you have a pixel here, Facebook, Instagram, and by the way, I want to stop here for a second. I want to explain something. When people say, oh, you know, Facebook is an old company and we don't want to market on Facebook. Where do you think Facebook markets? Any idea, anyone? Is it Facebook only? Where? Wherever you are, that's where Facebook is marketing. Let's say, for argument's sake, you are into photography. You have what do you call it? Photography magazine you follow digitally. Or you listen to the news. Or you listen to whatever New York Times you're reading. Whatever you're reading, Facebook is placing that ad where your eyeballs are. Facebook is not a Facebook ad. It's not just for Facebook. It's not just showing up on Facebook. Of course it is. But Facebook is placing it. Let's say you went on, give me a women's dress magazine, somebody. It's not possible nobody knows it. Let's say Elle Magazine. Let's say you read Elle Magazine, digital. They know because of the pixel, because of this, that you're going to give this to Facebook. And Facebook is going to say, oh, now I know the demographics of this company, so that person should see her makeup. Where? She's on Elle Magazine. Your stuff is going to show up on her Elle Magazine that she's reading. Or you might be reading, political news somewhere. It doesn't matter what you read. It's going to show up there. Or you're looking at Crate and Barrel. Crate and Barrel, there's a side thing that shows up here. You guys know this? Why do you think it shows up? It shows up because of this pixel, because you gave this pixel to Facebook. What Facebook did and said, I'm going to find people what's called lookalike. That's what they call it on there. I'm going to show you a bunch of people. We're going to show it. We're going to give it a big pool of people, and let's see how many of them are going to go through this journey. That is the purpose of this pixel, in addition so that you can find more people. But this retargeting here, this retargeting is intended to, the word retargeting means, hey, you've seen me, now let's get to know each other better. All these creatives that you're creating intended to move the person down. It's going to hit that person watching you, and the first time it's going to be, hey, you know what? Let's say you want to show the benefits of the product. What are the benefits? That's a phase. Another way, how do you use it? Another phase. What are the qualities? Another phase. You're just getting down. You're getting them down and down and down into here. That's what you're doing. And then somewhere down here, you have a call to action. You might give them an incentive. Hey, because we know where this customer is in the journey, hey, here's another 10% off. Force the checkout out. Now you got them out. Add them out means here. Here's where most companies fail. This is where a lot of companies fail. They get here, they get to the checkout, or they get to the checkout, and they start this whole process over again. They never care. They never service that customer. They never service the customer. They never worry about the customer. Think about the relationship. I'm putting this into a relationship mode because the amount of time you spent finding that person, now you want to really have a relationship with them. The benefits are in the relationship. It's a lot of work to get that customer, so you want to maximize the relationship. That's what you really want to do. So what you do is now you take care of that customer. You baby this customer. You make sure this customer is treated like gold, because you want them to come in and keep buying and buying and buying and buying and not going anywhere else. So you keep communicating with them through your organic, so they get entertained, so they stay with you, you engage with them, you do things for them, but you don't want a one-night stand. You just don't. But most companies fail because they focus on this, boom, done, and it's a one-night stand, and they start this entire process again because this is super costly. This is exhausting. That is the basic structure of the way we handle our business. This is the basic way we handle it. You gotta, if there's one thing that I can let you get out from here today is memorize this entire chart of what a funnel is like, understand the concept of top of funnel, which is introduction, no different than a relationship, how you move through the relationship, what happens when you check out, how you service the customer, how important your website is, how important, by the way, I never covered the email. It's no different. You have 7-step email systems. 7-step email system is, a first email could be, thank you for coming on board. Welcome. That's an email. A little know-how. Hey, this is the item you looked at. What are the benefits of the item? Just somehow. Show it to them. You're going to do a makeup, for example. You're the only person I know. I'm not picking on you, you know. So you got to show them how the makeup is used. You got to show them the before and after. You got to show them the feeling, the emotion. You got to show them all that. In the email system, you show them. And at the end, you give them a call to action. It's the same. No matter what, human behavior is always predictable. You can bank on human behavior 100% of the time. It's up to you how creative you get here, how focused you stay when they check out, and how well you understand this journey. I had an interview with a videographer, because we need one. And I have not hired a videographer for now 2 years, because nobody understands this concept of creating a video that is specific to a part of all this. So the product can be, you know, whatever this is, but you still have to be able to do introduction, getting to know, and then getting more intimate and getting to a checkout. You still, like you have, you know, you got to show everything. How is it used, right? So even videographers, I say that because you guys are basically stuck with a problem, which is you're a one-man show in the beginning when you build a brand, or you're a 5-man show. The same we are. I was a one-person show when we started. But you build, you get to know that, you get to understand it. And the more you keep trying, the more you do it. What you watch on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, and so forth, what you see, there's a lot of work behind it. The way to execute those videos, it's a lot of work. It's insane amount of work, how to understand it. And unless you try 1,000,000 times, you don't get a feeling for it. So for you to hire someone and say, oh, this is my social media person, mistake. You should do it in-house. You know your brand. You know how to communicate your brand. You know, you have a passion for your brand. You've got to do it first. This is my feeling. I could be wrong. I could have 10 entrepreneurs come and tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So you got to come in and you got to start talking, because you're the one who built this product. So you've got to be able to be the person. There's always a human behind a brand. There is not a brand out there. There is not a human. Human factor is important. Show the brand, show the thing, show the thing. Somehow there's got to be a face behind it. Yves Saint Laurent, Calvin Klein, Gianni Versace, I don't care what brand you talk about. They're all humans. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're people. At the end, it's a people game. It's a people game. Any questions? Any questions so far before I continue on? There's not much to continue on anyway. This is how we run our business. This is how we do. Now, remember, you do radio ads, same scenario. It goes through that journey. If it's influencer ads, influencer, same thing. Influencers are going to talk about it. Why do you get an influencer? An influencer is all up here. An influencer is all up here. Unless they're fantastic and they're promoting it, they're going through this process very fast. So if you see your favorite influencer talking about something, the person watching is going through this process very fast. Why? Because they've created credibility. That influencer has credibility. I'll tell you how I started my business, which is a funny, nice story. For a year and a half, I took all my inventory, I took 30% of it, and every single day, 4 influencers received free product from me. I used to DM 100 influencers a day. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, until Instagram shut me down. But 100 influencers per day for a year and a half. Every week, we had 25 boxes going out to influencers. I couldn't care less what they said. I couldn't care less how they posted it. Eventually, you get to do that. Why? Because my concern at my time was I was up here. I needed a lot of introductions. I didn't want to spend this money in the beginning. And we did a lot of creative. So I took their creative, and I took it here, in addition to what I did, and I got the customers here. I built my pixel, and then I started that. This is it. This is the Holy Grail. That's how I did it. First.
So how do you keep your customers engaged today? Like, you do live streams, you do organic posting, you do paid, but can you talk more about why you have 3 cameras there?
I think people have lack of, to begin with, I have to say this. Don't ever feel that somebody's judging you. No one is judging you, and if you post, if you don't have followers, who cares? They're not watching you anyway. Only when you get good is when they start watching you. Why? Because when you get better at it, that's when you start resonating. But engaging the customer on every level is how we keep our customers. Meaning, we send, like, listen, I'm a New Yorker. Sometimes I send emails out that says, my favorite restaurant. What is it? What's that got to do with my candles? Nothing. Has absolutely nothing. But you know what? You have to give value to them. You have to give value to the customer. You have to give value of some sort. You can't be a taker. A taker means buy, because I want something from you. You got to give first. You got to give a lot first. You got to entertain a lot first. You got to educate a lot first. So be it on text messaging. I have a 4,000 person subscriber list to text messaging that I just text every morning whatever my thoughts are, spiritual thoughts, like in motivational things. Has nothing to do with work. And they support me. But people take this as a business. It's a people business. The product can come and go tomorrow. You can screw up on a product, but if you've got your crowd, they love you, they adore you, they respect you, the product can go to hell. You make another one. If the whole trend dies, it doesn't really matter. Look at every brand. Chanel has gone bankrupt twice. Prada, bankrupt until Karl Lagerfeld came in. Gucci, totally bankrupt until Tom Ford came in. They came in and they built the brand because Tom Ford had a personality. He had a connection to all his people. So he built it. It's a connection to people is what you're developing. And an intimate relationship, you really got to get close to your customer. You really got to get close to your customer. Your customer and don't ever chase the money. When I say don't ever chase the money, I've said this a million times. Understand the emotion of the customer, be it in your creative. Are they down today? Are they up today? Give them something give them something with hope. Make your music lively. Everyone has shit going on in their life. You're not unique to anyone, and neither am I. So whatever you're feeling, they're feeling the same thing. So just capitalize on it. Make people feel good. Your product should make people feel good. You talk about that. We had a lady who was doing, she really invented something very cool, hair growth for ladies who lost their hair. And she was sitting there and talking about, you know, the composition is this, and I do this, and I do that. I can't remember her name right now. Let's say her name is Tracy. I said, Tracy, this is so simple. Ask the question, are you embarrassed to go out without hair? I solve your problem. Done. Because that is the emotion attached to it. How it fixes the problem is literally second to learn how it's done. But you got to figure out, in your case, it's like, what does that makeup do to you? We're in the makeup business. That's why I know makeup pretty well too. So when you put the rouge on, what does that do? Why do you put the blush on? Why does a guy comb his hair? Why do you wear cologne? It makes you feel a certain way. It's all about feeling. You look at Loro Piana today, and they put out an ad which was insanely killer. Now, one word, nothing. But they just showed you how they made their bags. Just the stitching. And the edge of the leather and the softness of the leather. It was just all about emotion. Like they didn't talk about anything. And the bag's like $10,000. But it's emotion. It's always an emotion. Positive emotion, not negative. That's the one thing, like, don't ever do negative emotion. Don't ever talk about anything bad. Ever. Being frank is another thing too. Like even here, I go sometimes and I say I screwed up. That vulnerability in your social media will give you, first of all, you don't do it for the intent to be vulnerable. You do it to be honest. That's why you do it. Not because you have an agenda to like rig the game. You just have to be honest all the time. What other question? Yes.
Make sure you state your name.
Hi, I'm Kenneth. And what has been your most effective platform to market on?
I'm going to answer that. The question is, what is the most effective platform? Why are we, and I'm going to ask you a question before I ask that. Why are you interested in the most effective one?
Just curious.
Okay. My response is this. Imagine there's drizzle outside. And you have a 2 foot by 2 foot piece of plastic and a hole in the middle. And the drizzle is coming in and nothing comes out of the hole. Yet then, or you take a piece of plastic that's 4 miles long this way and 4 miles long that way, and there's still one dot in the middle. Those little drizzles are going to get together and they're going to add up to a lot into the bucket. So it's never worrying about one. I never worry about one. I worry about every single thing that I can target. I'm not good at all of it, but I'm telling you today, the one that works in your favor the most is TikTok. The most. For one reason. Because it's an exploratory platform, which means that when you go on Instagram, it's showing it to you, to your friends, and it goes up the viewers, and then it just dives right down because it's showing it to your friends only. Because it's remember I said to you, understand the mental, what is the intent of each platform? You got to understand that you can behave inside of it, right? In Facebook, in Instagram, you talk to your current customers, you move them down or do new introductions. TikTok is completely like the Wild West when it comes to getting new customers in, because it's intended to show it to more this one or that one and that one and that one, and you don't know which one's going to stick. So TikTok is right now, I don't know if you remember, MySpace came in and went. I couldn't care less who they are. It's keep the attitude, keep the process, and understand this skeleton right here. You can duplicate this on any platform, and you should do it all. You should do as much as you can on all of them. Google search. Think about it for a second. Google search is meaning that you are saying, I would like to buy a chair. That's your intention, is to buy that chair. So Google is fantastic for that. YouTube, how do I build a chair? Now, you'll show up there. Facebook. I'm watching. Shit, I need that chair. I'm glad he showed it to me. Every platform has different mindset of the consumer. Same consumer. Think about you. You can walk into Hermes today and think, I'm going to buy a $10,000 bag, but if I drove you to Walmart, you're not paying $500 for a bag. Because where you are, right? You're the same person. So wherever you are, your mindset is different. Your pocketbook is different.
I'm glad you keep that in mind, because when I intern for brands and they want to do social media work, they're like, oh, just post the same type of video just across anywhere, and I have to tell them I don't think this is going to work, or this type of platform or that. But I'm glad you cater your content or your marketing differently depending on the platform.
I started this business in home goods. Marshalls, TJ, Hobby Lobby, Cracker Barrel, we used to sell to them. And I used to take the same product and put it in home goods, and the same product, which is the same company, at TJ Maxx. I couldn't sell it at TJ Maxx. The girl's mentality was to go shopping for dresses at TJ Maxx. The girl's mentality at home goods is to decorate her home. Her pocketbook was a lot more open for this product in home goods, whereas in TJ Maxx, it's like, make me a deal. If it's attractive enough, I'll buy it, but I'm going to get to it later. Right now, I'm looking for dresses. So the mindset of the consumer is very important. You got to know where you're putting your creative. Somebody was raising their hand.
I did, but that actually answered my question. I was going to ask if you repurpose your content for multiple platforms, or if you create specific content.
No, you can. I am not. What I say here is where I am going to. As a brand, what is happening today to us was the result of what we did 6 months ago. And what you see today, what you're going to see today, is going to give us results 6 months from now. So everything I'm talking to you about is in the plan to execute more precisely in the near future. But to answer your question, in the beginning, when I said to you, don't worry, just post. I don't care what, just never not post. Think of it this way. If you're not posting, I am. I'm going to get in front of your customer. If you're not posting, I am. Somebody's posting. And if you're not, you're losing. Silence. Yes.
I guess this isn't really related to digital marketing, but it's more like a personal. How did you? I heard you were in real estate before. I'm in real estate also, and I also want to do a business, have a separate business aside from being a agent. But what was your inspo behind this brand, and how did you, I guess, start it, the story behind it, and drive it from one idea to another?
Before I answer that, are you an agent?
Yeah.
A real estate agent?
Yeah.
Which company? Corcoran. Where? Which office?
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. It all comes back to human behavior. I was real estate developer, and in the real estate, we have a family business in fragrance. So when a customer came to my, let's say I would do 50 lot subdivision or to 100 unit condo, whatever it was. I had the brochures, but I never gave them a card. I gave them a little candle, which each model had a fragrance. And on the bottom of the thing, we had the model name and our phone number. This was years ago. And the customer never threw away all the brochures, but never threw away the fragrance because it smelled good. You know, it smelled good. It started that way. Then, as we staged the home, I would look at a candle. I'm like, shit, it looks like a glass of milk. It's a glass with wax in it, and it looks like shit because when you're in real estate, when you stage a home, it is so particular. Everything is perfect, right? Color of this and the drapes, and everything's got to be just spot on. So I'm like, this is not working for me. So I started designing my own, and making my own, and formulating my own, because fragrance ultimately is a powerhouse for memory. It's a massive recall. It's a massive. You go to Corcoran right now downtown, my whole setup is there, and they gift it. they gift my candles. And I'll give you an example. You go to a listing, you don't get the listing, and you walk out. What do? Now you got to call them. They know you want something. They see your number, they're not answering it. Correct? Very difficult moment for you. So I went to Corkin and I said, listen, the minute an agent walks out and does not get a listing agreement, they've got to go to my website, send them a gift. Because that candle sits in front of the dining room, the whole house smells, and they're thinking about you if they like it or not. 3 days later, you call them, how's the candle smell? And I'm telling you.
No, it's really cool how you tied that in because, like, I feel like it's also such like a simple but like good gift when it comes to like home apartment purchasing, like a candle. It's like.
And you should, in real estate, you should never do the gifting. You should never rely on the gifting at the end. The deal's done already.
Yeah.
You should do it all across the transaction in the beginning. It's a relationship. Remember, I keep saying this. You are in a relationship with your customer. When it's done, you can build on that. What else? Yes?
When you started gifting a lot of different influencers, did you see a big impact? Or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it, right? I'll give you another insight about influencers. Influencers are bored out of their mind. They're at home. They have the same thing they talk about over and over and over. They need content. They need to create fresh content. When you keep feeding them, it's like, finally, I can talk about it. But they don't want to do the work. They're lazy. They don't want to call you. They don't want to give you their address. They don't want to reach out to you. They don't want to negotiate anything. All I did was, hey, listen, I'm going to gift you whatever you want. I just need your address. No requirement. Do whatever you want. So now they got this product, and now they talk about it, right? So in the next picture, they're talking about the next product, but in that next picture, this other competitor of mine, not necessarily a candle, they tagged him, but I got tagged too. I get tagged over and over and over again. And there came a point where it's like the whole Instagram was talking about my product because I just flooded it. And the math is like this. Let me show you the math. This is for you. This is a hypothetical math, okay? Let's say I bought 1,000 pens. I bought them for $10 a piece. That's $10,000 investment. My first time around, I took 300 of those pens and I put them aside. I took the $10,000 and divided it by 700 now, right? I have 700 on this pile, I have 300 in this pile. This 300 pile now became zero because 10,000 divided by 700, my new cost to this is $14.27. That's my cost now. Fair? Now this product is zero value. So it was easy for me. I didn't feel guilty. I just kept giving it away. What did I pay for? Shipping? Big deal. But I kept giving it away. Now I focused on selling my product on a profit margin of $14.27 rather than worry about, oh my God, I'm giving this away, I'm getting nothing in return, and this one's not posting, and that one's not doing anything, and that one's such a schmuck, this one sucked with what they did. Who cares? In the beginning. That's what I'm just saying in the beginning. Later, now we're very strict. Now we're super strict. But in the beginning, I didn't care. That's how I did it in the beginning. So that's exactly how I did it. Like take 30% of your entire inventory, just give it away. Just give it away. And by the way, when you give inventory away, when you bought it for 10 bucks, let's say you mark this at $30 or $40, right? The person receiving is thinking they got $40 worth of product. For you, it's like literally zero. It's zero because you transferred it on the spreadsheet on this side. Now you have no cost to this thing. You don't feel guilty. You feel guilty, you feel bad when you give something away when it costs you money. But it's not costing you money, technically. Yes.
So I saw you on TikTok. That's how we actually met. So how do you stay on top of trends? Like, how do you know, okay, this platform is coming up, I need to take part in that? How do you stay on top of the latest trend in fragrance, just your everyday?
God, that's a deep one. First off, I don't watch TV, which means I consume insane amount of data. I consume everything that's out there. and I read about what's going on. The other thing is, I do this a lot. Like, I don't go to shows, I don't go to anywhere, I don't look at my competition, I don't look at what someone else is doing. I just look at what I call incremental progress, right? Like, if I'm at 0 today, right, I want to, and there's 12 months, every month I want some minuscule incremental progress. It's like taking $5 and putting it in the bank. If you don't do the $5 every day, at the end, you're not going to have $1,500. You're going to have 0. But how do you get to $1,500? It's very hard to do it to day one. But if you do every day $5, you don't feel it. You're getting Starbucks every day for $7. You might as well put it in the bank, not get the coffee. So I don't, like, the questions I ask myself are very important. Is the brand becoming true to itself? I'm going to give you an analogy. I'm really an analogy guy, obviously. Who knows the Acela train here that goes to Boston and Washington? You know the Acela train? Fastest train in the country. So there's a train that goes from New York to Boston. This train decided that it's going to leave every day at 9:02. And the train itself decided that it's going to get to Boston at 12:45. These are real numbers. The train decided that I'm going to carve a path through these trees, through this town, through this river, on top of this mountain, on top of there. This is where I'm going to go. The train decided, theoretical train, it's a real train, but I'm saying it as if it's a human being, that it's going to have plush seats, super quiet, phone jack, USB cord, and it's only going to do business class and first class. It's going to charge $110 for its first business class, and it's going to charge $240 for its first class, and it's going to have one train that's going to be full food service. This is what the train decided, right? The train decided also it's going to have a huge service department where it maintains its train so it stays consistent with its promise. After it did all that, at 9:15, it opens its doors. You, the customer, has an option. Do you go into that train or you don't? The train doesn't care. The train knows itself first. The train has to identify itself. Who are you as a brand? When you know who you are, the train knows that there's the train that goes for $30 and it stops everywhere. The train isn't going to say at 9:03, you're having, you were stuck in traffic. The train doesn't care. It's leaving at 9:02. The train doesn't care on the way that your mom is going to drop you off somewhere else. It's not going to stop for you. It's going to get there at 12:45. That's the promise that the train has made. The train has made that promise, and the train is going to keep that promise, and you're going to rely on that promise. And the train said, the price is $110 for this trip. That's the price. When people ask you, oh, how do you justify a price for something? I sell candles for $175. Who justifies the price? Not me, the customer. If they buy it, they justify the price. If they don't buy it, they don't justify the price. That's just this mentality. So the answer to your question, how do I stay on top of it? I stay on top of what I'm doing only. I couldn't care less what anyone else is doing. I don't care what other brands are doing. I don't care if they're better or worse. Some days they're going to beat me, and most of the time I'm going to beat them.
And you're looking at your analytics daily?
Every single morning. I look at my analytics. I run my life this way. Half an hour paying bills for every morning. Half an hour looking at analytics. Every single morning. I want to know what's going on in that business. I want to know what's going on. Analytics, we look every single day. And then you begin to develop a smell for things. You develop a sense. If you don't look at it, you look at it once a week, loser. I'm sorry. But you better look at it every single day. Every single day, look at your analytics. Look at what's going on in here. How many people you might be losing people. You don't realize it. You might be staying steady, but you're gaining 175 and losing 175. Now, like, oh shit, why did I start losing these 175 people? Why did I lose that? What did I do wrong? I wasn't engaging. I'm slacking. You're your worst enemy. You lie to yourself more than anybody else. Sorry, I know I'm hard. I don't mean it that way. But this is the reality of business. So if you're looking to stay focused and understand how to do these things, it's this structure of looking at it all the time and understanding all this. Listen, some people say, why don't you open a store? It's got its time, right? A retail store, it's got its time, correct? Did I not walk you off that ledge? I walked you off because think about it. You have a store here on this block, right? This is your store right here. Within 5-mile radius, everybody's going to come in as a customer. Physical store. There's a right time for the store. When you're starting, this entire country is your store. As long as you can drive them here, the entire country is your store. Why would you open a store? There's a time for it. When you conquer that, then you open a store, when you can support the store. But understand the power that you have today. Holy shit. You don't understand the power you have. You also, by the way. You should be on social media you go showing. You should talk about, you should go like this. You should open the door and say, you know what? This is a hollow door. I think this developer sucks, or whatever, right? Or you should look at the molding and say, this molding is like this, or the countertop. You should touch the countertop. Yeah, this is well made. The seams are well, like, be the guru of your neighborhood. Be like the total guru of your neighborhood. Go to the planning board. Understand what the planning board is. Understand what new hospitals, what do you call, variances are being done. Understand everything that's being done so that here's why. Because then you will never sell yourself. Then a customer is watching you in the neighborhood and says, what's your name?
Maya.
Maya. They're going to be like, Maya, please, I've watched you for 2 years. I know that you know everything. Please find me a house, or please sell this to me. Why? Because you know everything. You know the whole town, you know the school, you know the police department, you've seen it, you know what's coming, you know what the streets are, you know what highway's opening, you know the potholes even. You know everything. If you don't, what credibility do you have? Social media is so powerful if you use it right. It's like, you know, I want time to stop so I can get ahead. It's that for you, for like, you know, Sirhan is killing it, obviously. Yeah, like he's killing it. Yeah, wow. What? Yeah, he just started, yeah. 3rd book, Netflix, the whole works. But why? He was an actor. He wanted to be an actor first. But he went out and talked, and I always say this, and I posted this stuff, and that's another thing I post. Hey, realtors, this is what you should do. It's just, you got to give back. You know, there's a philosophy. You have a fireplace. The fireplace doesn't give you heat unless you do the following. You got to go out, chop the wood, theoretically. You got to go bring the wood in. You got to pile the wood. You got to let it cure. You got to let the moisture get out of it. Then you got to get it, put it in the fireplace. Then you got to get some kindling. Then you got to put the kindling in. Then you got to light the match, and you got to blow on it, and you got to wait, and then it's going to give you heat. Think about the concept. You got to give a lot first to get. It's just the nature of the beast. Fireplace that's what fireplace is. There's no magic wand. Anybody out there? You guys are still awake? What else can I help you guys with? Yes?
How are TikTok lives set up? Like, what do you engage? Like, are you answering customers' questions? Are you showing off new products? Like, how is a daily TikTok live?
I'm on TikTok 2.5 hours a day. At my age, I'm 60 years old. And I'm on it 2.5 hours a day, and it's going to stop eventually. If you're on it and you're monotone and you're not engaging and you don't read the comments, meaning if you heard him ask a question, didn't I ask the question again so you guys can hear it? So I got engaged with him when he asked that question. So when you see something on TikTok or Instagram, you have to read the comment so that, because you have to understand the psychology of the people who are watching. Some people are working and they got the phone hidden down here. They got headphones and they're listening, but they can't watch because their boss is watching. So you still want to talk to them somehow. So you got to understand that if you just answer the question, the person listening is like, what the fuck did they talk about now? So you have to be thoroughly engaged. Like, take your time. Answer a question every single time. Answer everything, bad or good. And then some people are going to be really nasty to you. You got to learn how to handle that. It's a rough platform because there are some people out there, and you got to learn how to get your own respect.
And making your customers talk back for you, because your customers know the product, they'll defend you.
Yeah, and that takes time.
Yeah.
What she's saying is that you build you build a community of people that come to your live that know you well enough that like they will jump in and cremate the person who's shitting on you, you know? That they'll just come in and like annihilate them, and then the guy leaves. Or you have to have a mentality to turn your biggest adversary into your friend. That's a talent that you got to learn, because they become your biggest spokesman later. When somebody's really unhappy, it's not about you. You know, there's an old saying, you take an orange and you squeeze it. What comes out of it? Orange juice. Lemon juice doesn't come out of it. Orange juice comes out of it. If somebody's giving you bad vibes, they got bad vibes. It's not you the problem. So like that's why I say, don't worry what other people say. The problem is them, it's not you. They got issues. That's why they dispense bad.
Grande, can you talk more about, since you are online and you're selling a product online, how do you let the customers experience your product at home once they receive the product? Because I know you're really into your packaging. Each detail is not overlooked. So how do you bring that feeling of
Ask the question again.
How do you, since you're online, how do you give your customer the experience of your brand once they get your product, like your packaging, the cards you put in, the whole experience that you give them once they receive your product?
Am I understanding the question? Your question is, let me paraphrase it. You're asking me, how do I get that experience while I'm live or after they get it?
After they get the product, how do you bring them into your world? Because you don't have a store, right? It's
No.
an online marketplace, so how do you give them the experience of your brand?
Every product that my customers get, the first thing when they open the box, it says stop. Take out your camera. Take photos. Here's my Instagram. Here's my QR code. I want you to post it. Talk about free advertising. Talk about free advertising. Every single package, you open it, it's big red thing, says stop. Take your camera out and post and tag us. Every box on the outside, sticker, sticker, sticker. Here's my Instagram, here's my social media, here's this. Everywhere, you have to get the customer involved. When they tag you, it is your job to repost it, no matter how good or bad. It's got to go in your story. You don't do that, that means you don't respect them. Now remember, they took the time to do that. They gave you that respect. You better give them that respect. Don't ever feel you're better than them, because once you start on that trend, your customers will never post for you again. You got to give your customer is your gold. Your customer is going to help you. You got to look at your customer as somebody who's going to build your business, not somebody you're going to take money from.
And you have to invest the money in your packaging and the experience, because you don't have a store where they can come and experience your products in person. So when they get it, that's your only opportunity, is that when they're opening the box. So your packaging, you give matches, any free gifts you can give to just attract them.
I think the word is you have to overperform. You have to over-deliver. Whatever they're expecting, deliver much more than that. On every level, deliver more than that. Make sure you deliver, because, listen, you're in the ring with like Mike Tyson in business. Somebody's going to knock you out. They're going to knock you out. The world of business is not easy. So you've got to outperform yourself, not the competition. Remember, it's not about the competition. It's always about you. Incremental progress that I talked about here is all about you. It's never the competition. You look at the competition, you say, you know what, I can do better than that, but you don't focus on the competition, because you'll end up like the competition. You don't want to focus on them. You never focus on the competition. Apple never focused on the competition. Apple didn't care if Samsung did better one year or not. They couldn't care less. Apple always said, how do I make this seem seamless? How do I do that? Samsung can't do it. because they focused on that. That was their goal. Like the train. The train said, I am going to pay, I'm going to leave at 9:02, I'm going to arrive at 12:45. It's your choice to come in or not come in. But this is who I am. I know who I am. I know how I do it. I know who I am. So therefore, the more you know yourself, the more they begin to identify with you. So over-deliver on every front. On every front, over-deliver. And if you're selling a dress and a customer needs it that day and they're 2 hours away, get in the car and deliver it to them. Just get in the car and deliver it. Get an Uber and deliver it to them. That one act will get you so much hype. I don't care how much it costs you. If it costs you $1,000, the dress is only $200. You can't pay for that.
Or if something comes broken, don't say it's a customer's fault.
Yeah, don't just replace it. We have a policy. If it's stolen even, customer calls me up, says it's stolen. No problem. And I have a ticket that says delivered. And I put that on social media, and everybody's like, well, they're going to scam you. If I have 1,000 customers, I have faith in humanity. Therefore, if 5 people scam me, am I going to contaminate all the other people's behavior because of the 3 scammers? Hell no. That's like being cheated on and then saying to the next person, hey, you know what, my ex cheated on me, therefore you're going to cheat. That doesn't work that way. Sorry, you're laughing, I know. But it's true. It's true. One person's misbehavior should not contaminate the entire world there are way more people that are nice, happy, respectful, loyal, will spend with you, will stay with you, will support you. There's so much more than there is bad in this world.
So it seems like social media is like a very big part of your brand ethos. Like I love that. When you create new products, do you look to them, or if not, like how do you innovate?
Every step of the way. I share everything with them because they get vested with me. So when I'm going to even get something like, close out something, I share it with them. When I'm replacing it with something, I'm like, here are the designs. I literally go on a computer, I'm like, here are the designs, here's the mock-ups, here's this, what do you guys think? What are the colors, blah, 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 what do you guys think? At the end of the day, you are in a relationship, remember that. What people think that's like showing your hand if you show that. What is wrong with that?
Competition can steal your thoughts.
I will give you everything about my business and go do it. It's hard, okay? Your competition is not stealing anything. They're not stealing anything. They can't even serve. Most of your competition is not even making money. They're just breaking even. Most of your competition couldn't care less about you. They got to pay their rent, their people, this, that. Remember, it's like when you go to a party, who do you worry about? Yourself or everybody else in the party? There you go. No one's thinking about it. No one cares. When you go to a party, the only thing you care about is my hair right, my makeup right, my dress right, my shoes right, do I look good? Seriously? And you're worried about everybody else? No one's looking, Just focus on you and the customer. That's all I'm going to keep repeating. Focus on that customer. The customer is it's the end all. If you look at Zappos, you know the story of Zappos? Zappos, you know what Zappos is? All of you guys, they sell shoes. The owner of Zappos was so customer-centric that if a customer called and they couldn't find the shoes for them, the staff were told to go to the competition and buy it and give it to them. So when it's absurd what loyalty they get that way. But people are not willing to do that. They're so full of themselves. They're so full of themselves. I'm a brand, I'm chic, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're a human being the same way. I got pain like you got pain. I got fears like you have fears. I sweat the same way you sweat. It's all the same. So how do you want to be treated? Treat the customer the same way. How do you want to entertain the customer? Entertain the same way. How do you want to be retargeted? Retarget the same way. How do you want to be talked to in this funnel? Talk to them the same way. They're people at the end of the day. They're not just numbers. Your customers are not numbers. Your customers have their own issues, and they will support you. And they will really support you if you treat them right. So yes, I do share everything. Everything I share. I share, I tell, and then I say, shit, I changed my mind. They're like, no, you changed your mind. Why did you change your mind? I'm like, yes, the vibe's not right. And they're like,
it seems like that would create such a perfect opportunity for just to create this journey where they're now so excited for the launch of what
yeah, and then you change your mind, and then what?
created.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be so angry.
That's okay. But you see, remember, you're in a relationship now, right? You're supposed to be angry at me. Get it? You're supposed to be angry because we're in a relationship. You're supposed to be angry, and I'm supposed to apologize. I'm supposed to say, you know what? Let me explain why. And you're supposed to understand me. As a brand is nothing other than human people getting together. The product's got to be damn good, though. Don't get me wrong. The product's got to be damn good. Your service is better, really good. Like 12 o'clock at night, somebody needs something. You're texting them, letting them know, doing it, showing up, saying no to them that, hey, you know what, this property might not be best for you. Let me show you something else. And by the way, as a broker, I'll tell you what I used to do. No one was allowed to come to my real estate openings unless they interviewed the customer for 2 hours first. 2 hours. Ask all sorts of, how do they entertain? What do they do? How do they live? What life? What do they travel to? What product, what car do they drive? Everything you need to know. Because the customer in real estate really doesn't know what they want. Most of the time, if you show them something that you understand, they will love it. They'll be like, oh shit, I never thought of being in Soho. That's not my style. Or like West Side, like that's so hippie, it's not me. Show them a good product that fits all the things that you did. Now you become the guru, back to the guru again. Always interview the customer for 2 hours first. Don't ever take them out to a showing without interviewing them. Lengthy, and I mean lengthy. When you're done, start over again. Okay? Lengthy interview, because you got to know your customer. You got to understand. There might be dynamics. The husband and wife might not be getting along together. They might be on the road for divorce, and you're wasting your time. It's like, screw this. Yes.
So in that sense, how do you do your market research? Or when you started the business, what type of market research did you do?
You see, that's another sensitive subject because people think doing market research is an important part where I don't. I personally don't believe in market research. I don't believe in bringing all you guys here and getting your opinion, meaning the path is like the train. The train has to decide that this is what's necessary because the train has evaluated everything. It knows that there was a need for this train on this path to be at 200 miles an hour, get there in 3 hours, where every train is taking 6 hours. But you might have a group of people who are saying we don't need it because they don't know they need it. They don't know they need it or not. So the market research is, number one, my social media. That's one. And number two, it's really it's me saying, am I upping my game every day? Am I upping my game? When you say market research, can you ask the question better, like for new launch product, or what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, because if your priority is the customer and you build a relationship with the customer, as you just said, you need to know then what they want and what they need and what they're looking for. So how do you find what your customers want or need or all that?
This is going to sound a little arrogant. But a lot of times the customer does not know what they want until they experience something new. And you have to bring that newness to them. You have to. Listen, at one point you have a camcorder and you had a phone, the flip phone, remember? You had a camcorder and a flip phone. They married together. Did the customer know that they needed that? The customer didn't know, but they did a lot of research and they threw the research away because it made sense. The connection of the camcorder with the telephone and internet made sense. The customer didn't know they needed that. So any research wouldn't have worked. It depends on what you're talking about. So my answer is, I made a mistake recently. I launched a fragrance. I went to Morocco and I found orange blossom, very heavy, very Moroccan, super heavy. You have one. So in my mind, I said, the American market isn't going to understand that richness of fragrance. So I toned it down. Big mistake. Why? Because I didn't think it through. I introduced a skull candle. Skull, by definition, is rich, deep, and heavy. All the fragrances were like plum, whiskey, bourbon. It was so rich, tobacco, vanilla, rich. I can't keep it in stock. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't even listen to myself. I should have delivered on what I thought was going to work, but I took this consensus that, America wants toned down fragrances. No. I know so my customer proved me right. I was wrong because I had a consensus internal. My staff said, well, no, this is too heavy. I shouldn't have listened to them. So you begin to develop, no, I'm gonna produce this. I know this is gonna work. Like when you go to the NARS, for example, you know NARS, obviously. When they produce colors, the red colors, the rich plum red color that they produce, they watch Middle East girls put that on their lips. They watch the Kardashians start trending towards it. They're like, but everybody's wearing pale. And they produce the plum color off the shelf. They didn't ask the customers out there. They didn't ask the consensus. So it's really hard to answer that question because there are two sides to that. There are a lot of people who do social, and I go to them, by the way. I get paid to go. Let's say a watch company like Cartier is going to make a new watch. They'll come with a couple of designs and I'll get paid to go and give my consensus. I am lying through my teeth. It's true. It's hard, very hard. That's a tough one. That's a good question, tough one. Very tough. Because you gotta know, you gotta have your own North Star. You have to have your own North Star. Look at every single person. Olivier Roosting from Balenciaga. The guy's got a North Star like this. He doesn't care. He will wear his boots that are like that big. He makes these shoes that are like pointy like that. But he trends. Tom Ford, he came out when he revived Gucci, black dress, big belt, big buckle. She was stunner. Now, Ralph Lauren is copying him on everything that Tom Ford did 20 years ago. But he was the one with a vision to say, this doesn't exist, but I'm going to do it. So it's hard. It's a hard question, in my mind. What else? Yes?
How many people are on your staff?
19.
Your team? How many
Sadly, after COVID, not one person is in my office. 19. Not one person is in the office. Very bad. I hate it. I can't. Next hire is, like even today, the videographer. You're coming to the office. What's the question?
As for the website, what tips do you have, like when we create and design our own?
You really have to understand who you are. I swear to you. And then speak that language on the website. Speak the language that you are. Give me a product that you would like to launch eventually. Jewelry. Speak the language of the jewelry. Like, is it simple, bold? Your website's got to be simple, bold. It's got to speak the language, the typography, the layout, the balancing of the page, the sizes of the letter, the hierarchy of the letter. Letters, let's say you have a header, you have a little description, then you have, right? Even the size and colors. One is in black, one is in gray, one is in lighter gray. Depends on what hierarchy. You have to understand hierarchy when you're doing, you guys are in school here, you know typography, right? You have to lay it out so it has that feeling of, if it's a classy jewelry or if it's a hippie jewelry, you have to have that vibe. You have to do the pictures right. So my answer is entertain the eye. The eye is very important because somebody's looking at that website. Entertain the eye. Entertain it. Entertain means sometimes there are shitty websites that have beautiful pictures. The pictures do a lot. Look at some of these influencers. Look at some of the influencers that are so good at what they do. I mean, insane photographs. But they're terrible when it comes to communication because they don't know how to talk. But the photos, spot on. But you learn how to connect the dots of your story. The same way like the train, right? The train says it's got to be quiet, it's got to be plush, it's got to be clean, it's got to be this. You got to connect all those dots so that the language is clear to the visual for the viewer. What's your language? And that takes time. And be okay with screwing up. Where we are today, had you seen how embarrassing I was 2 years ago, it's funny. It's bad. Like pictures were bad, typography was bad, checkout process was bad, storytelling was bad, but we worked at it. There's an old story about pottery making. Do you guys know the story about Class A, Class B? So they took a class of 20 kids and put them in Class A and 20 kids in Class B. And they said to the 20 kids in Class A, you have 1 month to build one perfect pot. And they took another 20 kids and they put them in a class and they said, now your job is to make volume. Make as many pots as you can. We're going to see how many you can make. At the end of the month, when they came to both, who do you think had a more perfect pot? Why? Trial and error. Trial and error. Got to keep trying every day. Super Bowl was yesterday. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be watching Super Bowl. I'd be doing something else. I didn't even know who the hell was playing. Our focus, that's a distraction. Like it's just this absurd. Business is not easy.
What are 3 professional skills you think college students should develop?
Photography is number 1. You gotta learn photography. You gotta learn how to frame. What your personal eye sees and what the lens sees are 2 different things. You gotta learn how to frame a picture. You gotta learn how to frame, learn photography. I spent a year on YouTube every Saturday and Sunday learning photography. I take all my own pictures. And I train other people to do it, but at the end of the day, you gotta know photography. You gotta know what you're looking for because there are shadows, there are lines, there are perspectives, there are skews, there are vanishing points. There's so many things, and there's like misguided imagery that is flawed because you don't know what you're looking at. So learn photography is 1. Learn how to speak, how to articulate your message. Stand in front of the camera, record yourself talking. Because the more you talk, the more you're forced to be able to say what you intend to say. If you don't, why do you think I made you guys write the 250 words? Because I want to see your perception of what you guys see. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to see, hey, is what I'm intending to say, is it being seen by you guys? Learn how to communicate well. And third one, learn accounting. Learn how to count your money. Learn accounting. If you don't know accounting, don't get into business. Don't. Learn accounting. There's a big difference between profit and cash flow. Huge difference. You got to pay your bills at the end of the day. Every day. Learn accounting. Those are the 3 things I would recommend. What else? Oh boy.
Does anyone want to share the feedback you had when you saw the Thompson Ferrier brand for the first time?
Yeah, I would love to hear that. Criticism more so than anything else. Compliments are nice, but I'm more interested in the criticism.
Because we're all in marketing here, so as marketers, we should be able to let our clients know, hey, this is what on your website. Don't feel shy, because I already shared it with Rafi. I didn't put your names, but if you have any feedback for him. I'll go first. I told you earlier that we talked about this, but it is very reactive. So creating a calendar and figuring out a content strategy. I know, like, when we're actually entrepreneurs, it's like, okay, we need to put something up tomorrow. What should we put up? But I speak for myself too. Just having a plan in place, having a content calendar in place, it's really important. Just so everything's cohesive. So I think that was like the number 1 thing.
I totally agree with you, but I want to add one thing to that. All of you can give me recommendations, right? Every single one of you honestly can give me a recommendation. And probably every single one of you are right. But you got to put that in context of my personal journey, which is exactly your personal journey. There are priorities you have in business. There are priorities in marketing. There are certain priorities. You conquer everything, and as long as you're okay with the bigger journey and you're doing things, the time will come for that. You're right. I couldn't do it till now. You were right. So yes, and it's exactly staying in positive motion so that you keep building it. It's very easy to build. Look, a plane, when you take your foot off the gas, goes downhill. You give it a little gas, it's going to cruise, and you give it more, it's going to climb. Your life is like that. Just put your foot off the gas, it's just right down. So every day you're looking to go a little bit upper, upper, upper. But the criticism, when I say constructive criticism, you're right. We know what we should do because we see other brands doing everything that it's supposed to do. But the timing, like which one do you do today? You have resources, financial resources, you have people resources, you have day resources, you have weekend resources. What is the prioritize? As long as you're moving forward, the day will come. The answer is yes, you're right. And I said that to you today. Yeah, I guess you have to be okay with things, guys, is you really have to be okay with the journey because there's no arrival date, by the way. There's no such thing as an arrival date. You will never arrive wherever you want to go. There's no such thing. It's all about the journey. It'll get better and better and better and better. You'll understand more, but as long as you do.
Which candle stood out to you the most, like out of the collection? You saw all of the different candles. Which one really was like a wow potential?
Anybody?
How many of you like the Buddha? What about the elephant? And also, what did you guys see the baby candle that Rafi's working on? Well, I don't think you guys saw it, but Rafi's working on a baby candle in collaboration with Gucci sweaters. So
Yeah.
that's a really cool collab.
And again, it's a $7,000 candle. Yeah, exactly. Look at the face you made. But it's not the price, right? It's not the price. Don't ever worry about the price. I say this, be sensitive to pricing, be sensitive to everything, understand your customer, service your customer. But when I'm developing a candle, we're gonna, my intention is to always up my game. How do I up my game? How do I get better in my social media? How do I get better everywhere? And intentionally taking a step back is a decision in itself. Don't ever be shy about taking a decision that puts you back a year, because that's a better decision than continuing on the wrong path. So we had a product that sold phenomenally well. Beautiful colors, all hip, it was hip like orange, pink, whatever. I mean, it did phenomenally well. It was not on brand. It was no more on brand. It's like, and I know I repeat relationships, but think of it as you meet someone, they're great best friend today. And in 4 years, you don't even talk to them. Does that mean that person became a bad person? Or does that mean that you just don't jive together anymore? You grew or they separated, whatever the case may be. Products do that. They like you begin to move and then it's okay to let go of something. So we had to let go of a very profitable product. So we let go because it didn't fit the DNA anymore. So you have to be okay with that. And the marketing for that was, I shared it with everyone. I told everyone that I'm going to try to make it better. I couldn't do it, so I said, I'm sorry. And then everybody got pissed at me. And then they understood why when I showed the new item, replaceable item. They're like, oh. And to your point, had I asked them that, they would have still said, let's keep this one, because they don't know the feeling of the new item yet. They just didn't know it. And then when you know it and you're like, how to trust me, like then they're like, oh my God, this is fabulous. Thank God you did it. And now it makes sense. So it's hard to get a consensus. It's very difficult. At least for me, yes.
I love your Sagado candle, and what was the inspiration behind it? Is it bamboo that's like the molding of it?
Everything that I do has to do with nature. Nature inherently is a comfortable place for all of us. We understand an elephant, we understand a Buddha, we understand trees, we understand all these little apple, whatever they are. We understand wood veneer. We understand all that. I went to Japan. I went to a garden called the Sagano Garden. And in that garden is where they have the bamboo trees. And the trees in the Japanese culture, when a bamboo tree stays in like untouched, it'll grow offshoots. So second, third, fourth generation is bigger, taller, fatter, stronger, right? So that symbolized for me family strength. So I said, okay, that's the family strength. But you can't go searching for this stuff. It just comes to you. I think there was what's her name asked Michael Jackson one day, how do you come up with your music? It just comes to me, he said. Remember that interview? He said, it just comes to me. How? I don't know.
But I think that's the beauty of the internet, because now there's so many different brands, and there's a brand that fits your specific needs, that maybe when someone sees a Buddha candle, they're like, oh, I've been looking for this my whole life. I can't believe someone created it. And that's why internet marketing is so amazing, because you're able to reach so many people with such a small budget. But it's also, you're finding people who you would have never been able to reach before, and you're able to give them something they've been looking for their whole life, because it's so specific. And like the crocodile candle, like that's something you can't even fathom, but when you see it, you're like, I want that, right? So that's
Yeah, I couldn't do a focus group on that, and they'll be like, no. I got banned from Tinder. I got your attention now, didn't I? I got banned from Tinder marketing. This is multi-channel marketing at its best. I got banned from Tinder because I'm not on Tinder, because I'm like, fuck, Tinder is zip code driven, right? So you want to find somebody, you put your zip code, and everybody in your zip code, you can swipe right or left. I'm like, shit, this is kind of neat. So I created a profile of my candles with a $25 coupon. So the hero picture was a beautiful candle, not me, and when you swipe right, the next picture was claim your $25. Holy shit, wait a second. And then, when you swipe, you exhaust, right? There's no more in that neighborhood. So then I'm like, I've got to be a better way to this. So I bought Tinder Pro. Tinder Pro, you can be in different neighborhoods, in different places. So we had 20 phones on every zip code, rich zip code in the country, every 100 wealthiest zip codes, and I got a little thumb from China that you stick it into the thing and it just rotates. It just rotates. So these things were running all day, rotating. Then I got a call from Tinder, like, you're banned forever. So I'm like, never allowed on Tinder. But you understand the marketing part of it? It was great. Because if somebody was smart enough, they would create a business part of this, where like a little hair salon or nail salon or real estate or whatever would then promote, hey, come claim your $5 for your pizza for today, right? So it would be awesome. So it's that looking at something and saying, how can I use this? And it's not hacking, by the way. It's like taxes. If they're giving you a break, use it. It's not a loophole. They allowed me to connect with every single person in that zip code. I took advantage of it. That's marketing. And it worked beautifully until it didn't. So I can't have Tinder now. Shit. I tried Bumble, they wouldn't let me do it. All right, what else? So, in conclusion, I really think it's the skeleton. You guys are very fortunate, because in the old days when I was doing real estate, I used to make signs and travel around. Let's say if my subdivision was here or wherever, right? If my subdivision was here, I would go 5 miles radius and I would get arrows with the name of the subdivision and nail it to every tree in that name. So if you were lost, you would definitely come into me. So you always find a way to communicate with your customer in any way you can. You can have one product and just hammer at communicating with the customer. Hammer it. And it's not that hard. It's just, it's the only reason it's hard is time consuming. It's very time consuming, and you have to understand every single platform. Get into the mindset like Pinterest. What is Pinterest for? It's because you want to create a board so that you can then go back to it and then reference it. So get in the mindset of that. If you're on Google and Google AdWords, you have to find the words that are working for you so you can be in front of them when they are searching for you. Every platform is different. Understand them and just target your things according to that. Got to understand these. The platforms are, for you to have just one of this 15 years ago would have cost you $5 million in equipment. You have a phone now that takes amazing pictures. You have CapCut. You don't need anything. You got music that's royalty free, that's given to you. You've got everything at your disposal. Everything. You have so much more today than you ever had. Now you have AI, which is insane. So easy and hard. Good luck, guys. Anything else? What time is it?
It's 3:37.
It's too early. Oh.
Well, I'm seeing if we have any questions from TikTok, so.
Oh, let's look. All right, so let's take some questions from TikTok to the class. I went to FIT. Wait. Every city has a zip code. I live in Rancho. All right, guys. No. Oh, Sharon says you did great. Thank you, Sharon. You see? Our group is here. And then there's a new fad coming up that I want to explore. Maybe you guys can help me with this. Because TikTok is such a exploratory platform, and you can only do this on TikTok, TikTok Live is a beast. It's a beast. And what TikTok has done has put that little yellow shopping cart and reduced the friction of going to a website. The problem with that is the customer doesn't, you have no pixel, so you can't retarget them. You can't, but you can, sort of. The part that if you have a product coming up, for you to really expose yourself out there, you should do what she does, which is do a ton of live events. Estee Lauder today has an ongoing live all day. This is what we want to get into, where we go live for 5 hours all day, repeat the same thing over and over again. If Estee Lauder has a live, 1 year ago, Tiffany didn't put ads in. Cartier blasted the system this past week. Cartier would never be on TikTok. They blasted TikTok because it's the place where the attention is. Go where the attention is. The attention right now is on your lives. Lives are insane because it's as much as you can do a viral video on TikTok, it has no interaction, and that human interaction is in the live. So you need to understand what that live is all about. But you got to try. So I'm going to be looking for someone who's going to come in at $50 an hour to come in and stand there for 4 hours a day at $200 a day, just sell in front of a camera and go home. And we sell a lot. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane what TikTok can do for you.
I think I saw you maybe like 20 times before I actually made a candle purchase. So people have to see you over and over again before they can trust that they want your product. So repetition is really.
It's that. You went through this funnel. You didn't even know it. I'm telling you.
And now I have every candle.
Yeah, you went through that funnel. You didn't even know it. You went through that funnel. You just didn't recognize what was going on for you, right? And that's my point in all this. My point is understand that funnel.
And it's also the peer mentality. When you see a lot of people buying the same item, it does incite something in you to also want the item. So that's something to consider too.
Yeah, you guys, who's embarking on a new business here? Anybody? What is the product?
I don't know the product exactly, but I did have a business like in high school that was like drop shipping. So like kind of want to continue that a little. It was like
But not your own.
now I'm just not as into it because I think I outgrew like it was like selling college accessories and drop shipping. So like I had a manufacturer print it and ship it. I just made the design one time for teach school, that like whatever.
And why'd you stop?
Because it's not like a passion of mine.
Oh,
Like,
forget it.
it's not exciting like getting college accessories anymore. Like,
Okay.
I think because I'm graduating, I'm just like, okay.
Anybody else? What about anybody who's looking to go into the field of social media marketing and then be part of a like launch product like you do, like creating and launching products? What do you guys want to do? I'm serious. Anybody want to like volunteer to say, hey, you know, in 5 years I want to do this? I'm curious. No? Okay.
So this is a senior class, so I think we're probably done with school.
No, that's my point. Like you're at that cusp of saying you're going to go out in the real world. Now what? Like what are you looking to do? Nobody? Yes.
I want to do PR for a luxury company.
Anybody in mind?
I would probably do luxury fashion along the lines of like Christian Louboutin or one of their competitors.
What do you mean by PR? I'm just trying to figure out what you mean by PR.
Public relations and or press.
Press.
Yeah.
So reaching out to press.
Yeah, kind of doing the relationships between the products itself with the stylist or with the magazines.
Okay. Just remember, it's the same process.
Yeah.
It's the same process. Getting to know the editors, reaching to the editors, warming them up, blah, 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 and then getting an edit position. Process is all the same. It's all the same. Who else? Yes.
Like probably work in production and jewelry. So at first I started a larger brand and then maybe like dilute and go to like my own private like label.
For jewelry.
Yeah, for jewelry.
Okay. Where would you make it?
Well, I guess I have to find out like sourcing like material and like mines. Like right now I work at Cartier in like the retail side, so I'm getting a feel of like the product and like the clientele and everyone there. So I'm still trying to like figure that out.
That's a good start. Being in Cartier is a great start because you get to learn a lot there.
They're intense for sure.
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah, and then so sourcing is going to be sourcing is a big issue. Yeah, it's a big issue. Quality control, sourcing, setting expectations for you, setting expectation for the customer. When you look at Cartier, you know, like, you know, you run your finger on their jewelry. It's like it's impeccable. You know, like there's no stone that you can feel any of the prongs. It's incredible, and their customer service and all that. It's a good learning process. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. I say this because if somebody asked me, would I do what I'm doing again? My answer would have been no. But I will still do it. The answer would be no to you, but the answer internally would be yes. Meaning, I'm not so sure everyone has that stamina. I'm not so sure everyone has that focus. I'm not so sure everyone has that willpower to go through hell or go through the woods and the fire and the bad and the financing and I just don't know if everyone's got that ability to do that. So I would say no first, and then I would say, if you ask me, I'll do it 10 times again, because you know, outperforming, not the competition, outperforming yourself is the key always. It's always that. Like even in your real estate, like, you know, who cares about what anyone else is doing? What are you doing to get better at it? What are you doing to become the guru of your neighborhood or whatever? No one else matters. No one matters. So, anybody else? I'm curious now. Yes?
I want to create or write for an advertising agency. I don't know if I want it to be like a small like boutique agency or like a huge company.
Advertising company. Okay. Focusing on what? Digital media or print material?
I would say digital.
Okay.
Like,
Well, you're in the right class.
Yeah. My dream company would be, I don't know if you heard of Whedon and Kennedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, you gotta, yes, marketing, you gotta learn how to do crisis management. I mean, marketing is not just all the fun stuff. You know, brands, by the way, have crisis too. So how do you manage crisis? catastrophes. How do you like, if you got to read some books on, if you're going to be in PR, you got to read books on crisis management. Tylenol had a meta-contamination, Volkswagen had their problems. There's all these companies have problems, and they're the hero companies, yet they have catastrophes, and it's all marketing. It's all not the spin, it's how you communicate, how do you handle things, right? In marketing, it's all about how do you handle things. We do screw up. We handle it considering our customers are our partners. That's how we handle it. We don't treat them like imbeciles. We treat them like they're going to understand. I have certain level of respect for my customer that they are seasoned enough that they're going to understand. That's PR too. All right, quiet time.
So where do you get your drive to keep working? Because I see you working until like 2 a.m. sometimes. Where do you get that drive? Is it innate or is something you develop?
That's innate. Yeah, that's innate. That's why I say that's why I say you have to have that. Like the kid that came in for videography. I asked him, what do you do on the weekends? Like, what do you do? He goes, when I'm hanging out, I'm listening on videos on YouTube, how to do this and how to do that. For me, that's the guy. For me, that's the guy. And I said, show me what you can do. And he's like, oh, I did this, I did that, I did that. And I'm like, oh man, you really figured it out. It's 22-year-old kid, So if you're gonna learn, they say the best investment you have is educating yourself on your own time. It's not money, it all pays off, but it's like, make yourself better. That's really it. And that's a 24-hour job. That's a 24-hour job. Forget the Coachellas and shit, whatever else. Those things are, unless you're a sponsor, then you go. But, and all the social media, most of it I find, for the wrong person, it's devastating. For the wrong person. It's a very enviable place, and most don't understand that it's so curated. It is so curated. It's not real. It's real when it's real, and that's why you win when you're real. That's why you win when you're real. Am I making sense? I don't know if I'm getting it. Like, it's so curated that your advantage is being real. That's your advantage. Pretending to be something is not the answer. Boy, you guys have like all this creative stuff. You can do so much in these and very different ones. Like, like YouTube. YouTube should be one that you should say, like, how do you, like in your case, how do you make the jewelry? That's a YouTube thing, right? There are leather guys out there that I follow, and they do a phenomenal job of dismantling the leather. You know what I'm talking about, right? The guy's become a huge person, and what's his name? Loro Piana became mass market because of that Stad guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Stad guy? My God, he was a guy on social media, made fun of every wealthy person on the planet, pretended to be like wearing Loro Piana, walking in and hello to him. And Loro Piana looked at this and said, shit, we got a market here. So they partner with the guy, So, and this is a company that doesn't do that, but they got into a new set of people. And you got to think of something else. A 15-year-old person watching you might not buy your thing today, but if you spend 3 years with that person, and when they become 18 years old and when they start making money, or a 20-year-old that becomes 25-year-old, you want them to know about you. You don't start with a 25-year-old at 25. You start with a 25-year-old at 20 years old, so you are in their psychology. So it's an investment of 5 years so that you're communicating at all times, so that when they become money earners, you're the person they trust because they have credibility with you. And it's such a long game. It's a long, long, long game. I say it all the time. Put your foot on the gas, run as fast as you can, and expect nothing. No results. Think of it this way. You got fat, you went to the gym today. You're not going to get skinny tonight. It's a long game. It's a very long game. Social media is a very long game. The people who come in and jump in and sell a product, that's all they do. They sell a product. It's not a brand. They don't know how to communicate. It's an instant thing. Building a brand is a very different game. And that's what Cartier does phenomenally well. Look at all their ads. I mean, it's spectacular. Like, really. Did you see them on TikTok this past week? Oh, you missed it. You missed what they did. They hit it out of the park. Tiffany is going to be a huge hit next year because Tiffany, LVMH just bought Tiffany, and they're going to be pushing all TikTok stuff. They've started with their watches. They've started with what's his name? They have everybody. They're embracing everything in their category way. So no platform is off limits to you guys. Is my point I'm making. No platform should be like, no, this is for 12-year-olds. No, or no, this is just Twitter is for communication. Says who? There was a lawyer that needed more business, couldn't figure out how to do business. He was about to give us his law firm, but he loved golf. All he did on Twitter was talk about golf. That's all he talked about. The golf, the this, the racket, the this, the golf course. I went here, I went there. Who do you think followed? All the golfers. Who do you think finally got, how did his business come in? Oh, I follow you on golf. You know exactly what on golf. By the way, I got this problem. Has nothing to do with being a lawyer. And he became a huge lawyer because of his posting, his love affair, authentic love affair of golf. So it's not one answer. Not everyone gets there the way, like there's no straight path. Whatever works for you, just do it. Any other questions you guys have? We're good. So did everybody at least learn something today, you think? Yeah? Good. Happy to hear that. That was my objective. I take you guys seriously. The amount of money, the amount of time that you guys spend with me, I take it very seriously because I think it's a two-way street. The same way I respect my customers, I respect you guys. You gave me your attention, you gave me your focus, you weren't bored, you weren't, on your phones. Thank you for that. But that treatment of respect between two people is very important. So thank you for taking the time to focus on me. Thanks for the time to go on my website and write it. Very, very important for me. And I take your future very seriously. So when I came here, I must have done this 40-time rehearsal. That's how seriously I take this. I've rehearsed this 40 times. And by the way, I rehearsed live every time. Yep, live. I did it live so I can understand where I'm making mistakes because it wasn't really about me. This one was more about you guys. You guys deserve to get an edge in the world. You're going to go on a wrong path if you don't follow this because it's just, you're going to end up here again anyway, later. You might as well end up here now. Because this is it. This is the rules of the game. All right.
So fabulous. If you guys want to stay back, Raffi will be here for a few more minutes.
Oh yeah, of course. We might even go live and talk to. Let's see what they say. Hold on a second.
So you're free to go, and you don't have class next week, okay? Because it's President's Day. But there is a homework assignment due on the 26th. You'll see it on Bright Space. So just take care of that. But we'll be hanging out for a little bit if you guys want to chat.
42,000 likes and 500 people watching. Just so you guys know. What do you think, by the way, what do you think of the value of this is now that I went live? Anyway, just somebody spurt it out. Was it valuable, you think? Do you think that the people who are watching understood the brand by watching this? The brand. Yeah. My brand. Yeah, right? Yeah. Because the brand starts from the top. So now they know how I think. Very important. So they know that if they know the attitude of the brand, the essence, the soul of the brand. So that's what it's there for. Use it. Thank you. Oh God, no. And I'm not kidding with you, by the way. You could really knock it out of the park. You really can. Every showing, just go in and document the hell out of it. They don't do it. Everybody's like so stuck up. Who cares? You're missing. No, you know what's special? You know what they don't do? Every single person who was on TikTok in real estate, they're talking about it's 5 bedrooms, it's 2 this, it's that. I'm telling you, go in and explain why is a Viking kitchen with 5 burners, why is that different? Explain it to them. Because that's part of your real estate thing, understanding what you're selling. You're selling somebody's life that they're going to be there for 15 years. 7 years is the average person that lives in a home. 7 years, right? So 7 years they're going to deal with that stove. 7 years they're going to shut that door. 7 years they're going to have a lousy toilet if it's a bad toilet. Of course. So how do we do? Now it's my attention goes to you guys. Huh?
Great. This is exactly what I teach. So
In this format, I'm assuming.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mine has 7 steps, but
Okay.
this is probably better
Because it's easier. Yeah.
and then do organic and feed.
Yeah.
But driving it all back to the website.
It's all that.
Who's on?
I don't know. We got yeah, of course. Let's see who we have. All right, so we're going to sign off now. Any questions from you guys now? Of course. Go to Corcoran, by the way, by the by Chelsea. Corcoran, Chelsea. You'll see all the stuff there, and the reason, and then talk to some of the people there. Huh?
I have a friend I think who works at that location. Who's like based off there.
I'm telling you.
That's it.
All right. Take care. All right. So we shared it all. Where did you go to school? Oh my God, I was a failure at school. You did a great job. Oh, thank you, High Country 7. Let's see. Congratulations, Rafi. You were great. Oh my God, great information. Can you post this live somewhere? I will try. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, we have very little battery left, and I'm going to turn this off. This was recording all this time. Was this end live here? Michael! Oh, my friend. Are you still here, Michael? Diane? All right, so we're going to end this live. And I'm going to post this. How do I post the live? Oh, shit. Okay, guys. This is your phone.
Yeah.
So you got to sign out of mine, right? I don't know how you do this. You're not going to share it.
Save it or
Huh?
discard?
Discard it. Yeah, I have it over here.
Sign out.
Bye, guys.